and he brought his shiny red ball with him. I found that quite fascinating. And to be honest, the kids would make fun of me because it was aimed at ages 3 to 5. Dad would make fun of me. Mum would make fun of me. When my grandfather got back from illegally shooting bucks in the forest, he'd say, "You little puffer, what on earth are you doing reading that? Why don't you read..." Oh, look, hell, I know you're only young, but even a Playboy would be better. It'd be closer to what you're about to experience in terms of hormones than reading about Spot pouncing into the woods like a little gay canine he is. And that really cut me to the core, but I knew there was something between me and that book. I knew that I had to keep reading, and then it struck me. It struck me like that apple that hit Isaac Newton on the head. Perhaps it didn't, but that's what I like to think it did, because of gravity and quality and things. Yeah, I kept reading, and it got to this point where Spot dropped his ball. And I had no idea what to think here. I thought, now this is something new. He's always been holding the ball, or playing with the ball when it's lying on the ground. I'd never actually seen it in flight. The fact that the ball suddenly went from sitting in the air to falling, I thought, now what sort of pulling force would be, what sort of force would be behind that? And I pondered and pondered and pondered some more. In fact, I pondered so much I started thinking about ponds, which were completely irrelevant at the time. But in the end, I came to the conclusion that, you know what? I'm going to study whatever scientific field is most relevant to this confusing conundrum. And I did. I took it up. I went to university, and they said, I walked up to my professor and I said, "Sir, I'm not sure what course I want to pick yet." And he said, "Well, then I'm not actually your professor yet, am I?" And I said, "Well, actually, no. This is the open day. I'm sorry. I'm just telling a story, and it's hard for me to recollect properly." But anyway, I was reading my Spot book, and I'd like to know why this ball fell when it was released by Spot, the lovable dog. And he said, "Well, it's a very good question. It relates to a force called gravity." And I said, "What? Gravy? Gravy? I love gravy. I have it on all of my favourite dishes. I even put it on ice cream sometimes, because it's just such a bloody beautiful ripper of a thing to eat. Perhaps drink, you could call it. It's probably halfway between food and beverage." And he said, "No, not gravy, you little pufter. It is gravity." And I said, "Well, what scientific field does that relate to?" And he said, "Chemistry, son." And I went in, I took on a chemistry degree. Never heard the word gravity mentioned once. The professor had tricked me because he knew that I wasn't very bright at the time, but I got brighter as I got older. So I wasted 3 years of my life. But I moved on back. I caught the professor out and I said, "You tricked me, you little rascal." Because by the time I seen him again, I was actually taller than him. I called him a little rascal because he was smaller than me. And he said, "Yeah, okay, fair game. It's part of geology." And I said, No, I'm not going to fall for that. You give me a book that shows me, that proves to me. If it is geology, then so be it. I'll shake your hand and I'll move on, kind sir. And so he got the book out. It turned out to be physics. He was yanking me chain again. He was pulling me muller. I bet you haven't heard that saying before because I just created it on the spot. But, gravity relates to physics. And so, with that word was so appealing to me, I fell in love with it. There and then. It was like seeing Mandy Smartboard Dandy for the first time, functioning swimmingly as she does with her highly efficient dual processing power. Oh, baby. Anyway, back to the point. I fell in love with physics at that time, took on the degree, really enjoyed it, made no friends whatsoever because it turned out no one thought it was particularly appealing to sit next to the guy with a big pile of Spot books on his desk. But, I moved on from that, and the rest is history, to be honest. And I've met Mandy Smartboard Dandy. I couldn't be happier. Well, I probably could be if I wasn't so traumatised as a youngster. I've never met a human woman. Well, I've met what I assume to be human women, but I've never actually gotten close to one. And, that's what makes Mandy Smartboard Dandy all the more interesting, is that she's the first organism I've ever been able to get romantically involved in that hasn't put up some sort of resistance. And got to be honest, Yeah, that's when I did fall in love with physics, was way back then. So I hope that answers your question.
What about chemistry?
Chemistry. Not a big fan of chemistry. In fact, the teacher that used to teach it, what was her name? What was her name? What's that bitch's name? She sits across the way from me. We exchange tense stares throughout a physics lesson while the chemistry's running over the way. I forget her name. I can't remember what her name is because I just don't want to know too much about her, to be honest. But in any event, she is an absolute mole. She is a grade A whore of Babylon. I cannot stand the bitch. She comes in, she tries to take my students away, she tries to drain them of their love and passion for physics, fill their heads full of chemical equations and balancing chemical equations. I mean, what a load of bolly wallop that is. Seriously, I hate them all. Every time I look at her freckled face, her square thick rimmed glasses, I'd like to give her a piece of my mind. But I can't because I'm a teacher, kill someone, probably without a job, and then me and apparently in the small print, Mandy Smartboard Dandy belongs to the school, so I'd lose her, whatever you want to call her, and things wouldn't be too good. So no, I do resist the urge to kill her, but I don't particularly like her, and she speaks irritatingly. She has that irritating accent, that pommy accent that no one ever wants to hear, and that's why no one lives in England in their right mind. Any other questions, Morgan?
Why do you love a smartboard rather than a woman?
I think I answered that question sufficiently earlier, but I'll go back over it again. I've always had trouble attracting women. Women like a man, not a boy, they always used to tell me. Because men, apparently, don't giggle inanely reading spot books. And, that I got told that at university, much to my surprise, because a spot book is, well, quite an exhilarating read, to be honest. And I suppose, further to that, you just never know what sort of a tiz Spot's going to get himself into when you turn that extra page, I mean, you're always going to see Spot. He's always going to be there. But will there be some sort of clown, multicoloured dream coat, anything on the next page? You just don't know, because that's what Spot's all about. It's all about surprise, mystery, drama, and a little red ball that he likes to roll around, and sometimes drop, which, of course, as you know, led to my career choice. But yes, it is quite a freeing experience to read one of these magnificent books. And honestly, I just don't think there's an age barrier. Why let the recommended age hold you back? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It didn't make any sense to me then, at 7 years of age, and not again at 14, and not now at 41. So I just don't think my viewpoint on that's ever going to change. I really don't understand why women aren't interested in that sort of thing. That sort of sophistication. I've forgotten what I'm saying, because I was just, my passion for Spot here has sidetracked me. Oh yes, the women. Well, since that time, I've really been scared of approaching a woman for fear of rejection. It really hurts me. It really hurts me, but then I found something a bit more exciting than a woman. A smartboard. I mean, all the functions are just so goddamn entertaining. You think about, I never get tired of tapping the board with the pen, and it comes up with a dot or a drag function, or you can go on the internet with the projector. It's unbelievable. I absolutely love it. Morgan?
Do you still read spot books then?
I don't read them. I pass them on to my son, and I said, if you can read these as long and cherish them as much as I did, you'll lead a long and a happy life, and you'll never be called a poofter once, because I'm not going to call you that. Unless you start sleeping with other males. Then that would change the situation. But not for reading spot books, let's put it that way.
Do you think that maybe you are a poofter and you're just loving the smartboard to cover it up?
No, that's never crossed my mind. If it has, then it's a suppressed thought. There's noises to the left of me. Oh, that's me changing the subject. Perhaps you're on to something, Morgan, but that's all the time we have for today. I'll see you guys next time. Episode 2 of... What's my name again? What alias did I give myself? Let's call myself Bot Zidanti. This is Bot Zidanti signing off. Keep smartboarding.